Capturing a performance is the most important thing when it comes to recording music. There is the temptation to try and make the record sound perfect, but by doing so, I've often found myself with something unemotive and sterile, and simply something I'm just not proud of because it was unauthentic. I used to hope that recording my songs professionally would help me sound like the artists I adore the most. But actually instead, I just ended up removing exactly what makes me sound like me. This is the second video in this series brought to you by Distrokid. This is about being an artist and recording yourself at home or in the studio. And I just thought I'd share some things I think anyone starting out needs to know and basically help you avoid all the frustrating mistakes I've made over the last 15 years that have cost me time and money, but have also ruined some of my songs and how I feel about them. More than 250,000 artists rely on Distrokid to distribute their music, including myself. If you're wanting to have your music available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music and Tidal, amongst many more, then you should sign up using the link in the description. There are two features that are extremely relevant when it comes to the recording process, and they might help you settle any future problems with credits and splits. So, give credit where credit is due. Now that downloading and streaming has surpassed CDs and vinyls, information about the team who worked on the record is sometimes difficult to find. I'm sure you were like me, I always loved looking at the liner notes and finding out who wrote the songs, who produced them, where they were recorded, and also reading all the lyrics too. It's just not displayed in the same way anymore. So Distrokid collects more extended metadata than anyone else, so you can not only share who works hard on the recording, but also details about the gear and equipment used, contact information, your social media, and lyrics too. Distrokid can split earnings from any song or album and automatically send those earnings to your collaborators. Think how much easier that makes life for you, your band, maybe the producer who has possibly given you a little bit of a discount on studio time in exchange for a percentage of the track. You can add an unlimited number of collaborators to any song, change the splits at any time, and for privacy, collaborators can only see what they're getting. If they haven't created an account, it won't delay your release. Distrokid will hold on to the money until they join. And as always, Distrokid doesn't take a cut of your royalties. Signing up only costs $19.99 per year for unlimited songs and albums, and with the link in the description, you'll get 7% off your first year. For independent musicians, it's important to stay on top of your finances and avoid any disagreements, so protect yourself and your songs. I've been working on music more than ever this year, and I cannot wait to show you. But while I'm finishing up a larger project, I thought I'd jump in the studio to record an acoustic song and follow a US Navy principle that my father taught me: keep it simple, stupid. There's obviously one important thing to remember. There is so much you can do away from a professional studio. There hasn't been a better time for home recordings, and some of the best-selling albums in the world right now were recorded in a bedroom. However, for my style of music, usually the only thing I can't record at home is a full drum kit. But for me right now, vocals and acoustic guitar are a problem due to cars racing outside my window.
I'll keep waiting for you.
So I'm now very aware of the limitations of this space, and I had to seek some help. Brian Eno said, "Beware the panic effect that accompanies the high cost of studio time. One becomes increasingly orientated towards results and progressively less inclined to engage in experimental activities that might not lead anywhere. As a result of this, one focuses one's attention on the safe bet, on the tried and tested techniques." I assume he means you're likely to get a little bit safe and possibly make something boring. So I totally recommend having tools at home to help you record and experiment at your own leisure and any time of day. But here are a few pieces of advice to take into consideration if you are heading into a studio, especially if you're pushed for time and money. So, first tip always comes down to my mother's favorite joke: how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Perform the song, learn the lyrics, learn the structure, know it inside out. Hopefully you actually have the demo of the song after writing it, so you could always email that over to the engineer before starting your session. Find the BPM by playing the song when you're relaxed and peaceful. Don't try and play the song to a speed you've set that feels wrong. It'll never feel right. Match the click track to your playing, not the other way around, and then really listen and rehearse to the click. This could even lead on to making your own guide track at home. It doesn't have to be the best performance and it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you want it to be useful, then it definitely has to be in time. And don't make the engineer or producer guess where the guide track starts. Make sure it starts on the first beat of the bar. If you are a guitar player, restring your guitar the day before the session. Let the strings settle overnight and avoid doing it in a panic. The strings might sound fine to you when you're at home, but they will sound dull in the studio if they're too old. And you can always take the brightness away from fresh strings, but it's very difficult to make old strings sound new. Make a list of things you need for the studio. It also helps when you're packing up too, because you know what is and isn't yours. If you're planning on multitasking, i.e. vlogging, just be aware that you also need to be rehearsed when it comes to working cameras. Maybe bring a friend along with you who can help and take the pressure off. Remember, you already have a large amount of work, so worrying about battery life and memory card space can be a drain. Go in with reference tracks. Choose wisely, but remember you're not trying to replicate the recording exactly. Really pinpoint what you like about it. Is it the drum sound? Is it the intimacy of the vocals? Is it the texture and instrumentation? I've managed to confuse engineers, producers, and mixing artists all around the world by taking too many songs in that aren't cohesive at all and just don't make sense. And that kind of reflected my state of mind about my music. I didn't really know what I wanted. It's only now at 29 that I actually have a vision and I know how to communicate it. So you've done all you can to prepare, it's now time to head into the studio. You have to think about what you want to achieve. Time is money, so plan ahead. I'm the worst at this. I always overextend myself, and I wake up every day with the thought that I will write and record 5 songs and create 2 videos. And I'm lucky if I even begin one of those things, let alone finish. So I have to tell myself to be realistic. Give yourself the breathing space so that you can actually set up everything properly, because that takes a lot of time and you don't just want to be frustrated at everyone actually miking a drum kit properly. And also allow for that experimentation that Brian Eno encouraged. Don't expect the session to go perfectly. If you want to live track a whole album in 8 hours, just know it's unrealistic, and they won't sound as polished as if you'd only concentrated on one song. There will be multiple takes, so you're likely to get tired and everything will suffer if you overextend yourself. Obviously, this depends on how much time you have booked out. If you have the luxury of having 6 weeks, then go all out. But I had 3 hours. Basically, I had time to do 1 acoustic song. Sometimes you just have to remind yourself that it's quality over quantity. Something that isn't even musical that might hinder your performance in the studio is having unnecessary people around. It can be really boring and people can end up distracting you. It just needs to be a really healthy environment, and everyone needs to know what they're doing. And if they're not contributing, then they need to go. Allowing for less rushing in the studio actually allows time for you to ask questions. What mics are we going to use?
I was thinking this Cole's mic on your guitar.
Ooh, yeah. Ribbing it up.
Ribbing it up.
Take the opportunity to learn. Engineers, mixing artists, and producers all have advice that they're willing to share with you. They also have their way of working, so sometimes it's best not to distract them and just let them get on with it. You can always watch a tutorial on how to EQ vocals a bit later. Think about how you want to be recorded and the space you're recording in. If you're recording acoustic and singing at the same time, or tracking a full band in a single room, there will be spill, which is absolutely okay for some things. It just might make mixing a little bit difficult at times, but again, it really depends on what you're after. Be open to feedback from other people working on the song, because they have fresh ears and a new perspective. Let them ask questions about your decisions. Do you really need to repeat the chorus at the end 5 times? Does the guitar solo really need to be that long? I mean, of course, it always needs to be that long. Sometimes you just have to let go of the certain image in your head or something that you think sounds good, because it might not be the right decision for the song. Suddenly, you're alone in the room with a microphone in front of you and a severe case of red light syndrome. When the engineer finally tells me that we're rolling, I have to recalibrate myself and really get in the zone to be able to do my job. Get comfortable before you start. Okay.
Is your foot weight in the right place? Your foot weight okay?
Yeah.
The Mary Spender foot weight.
Cause I'm short.
I'm too short for this too. All the emotions are gonna happen because of this footstool.
Whether that's in your seat, whether that's your in-ear mix, you need to feel relaxed. Take your own pair of headphones or IEMs, maybe change the sound of the click track. I often prefer having the pulse of a bass drum guide me through the song rather than anything too high-pitched. It does take time to know what you want and learn to communicate that, so be patient because no one can read your mind. That's just like perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. Like,
So it's not super like there when you're singing, but as soon as you're not singing, you hear it just...
yeah. I have to remind myself to tune my guitar after every single take. It doesn't even matter if it's perfectly in tune or you think it sounds in tune, just tune it over and over and over. Get it right on the way in. Don't rely on post-production to fix your mistakes. Then take a big, deep breath and go for it. Once you think you're done, be prepared to go back in, just in case. Stay in recording mode and stay in that headspace until you're all agreed that you've got it. Head into the control room and listen with your eyes open and listen with your eyes closed. So good luck recording. I really, really hope this inspires you to either take the time to build up your own home studio or go in and experience a professional one. Let me know if you have any more advice in the comments below and share your stories. Check out the link in the description for that 7% discount on Distrokid, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. But otherwise, I will see you soon.